Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Altcoin Connoisseur, and today I'm going to go over how I pick altcoins to increase my odds of success in pulling profit from the cryptocurrency market. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you give it a like, hit subscribe to this guy, which is me, and then also check out Action TA as well. Before we get going today, a few announcements. Number one, I'm planning on releasing 3 videos on 3 days, the first one of them coming today. So today I will talk about how I choose my altcoins and the criteria in which I choose them. During tonight, you can send me your favorite altcoins in the comments and I'll mention them in tomorrow's analysis. Then tomorrow I'll be analyzing various altcoins against my criteria and rating them. And I will save this reference, I'll save this video for future reference, and I'll see how they did and how they held up in the long term, right? And then Thursday, I'm going to tell you guys how to retard max, quote unquote, and I don't mean that offensively. I mean that as a mentality and as a frame of reference to hold in order to win at crypto and to become a happier investor. So without further ado, let's get going. So before we start with today's video, a couple of things that are worth mentioning. Number one, this is not financial advice. Number two, I use the following criteria to make altcoin purchases, and I do this based on my experience in the market. These criteria are not proven in solid facts. They are my opinions, and I believe these opinions will help me to produce the best results in crypto. And whether if you believe that to be the case or not is up to you after you view the evidence that I present in my videos. Number three, if you do not hold conviction that crypto and altcoins will go up, simply do not buy them. It is not worth watching crypto videos talking about altcoins when you think that altcoins are going to evaporate into zero, when you think that Bitcoin is going to go under $20,000 and the entire others market is going to be erased. If that is you, that is like an ex-girlfriend who is still watching her ex's TikTok videos, right? It's just anger at that point. It's not worth it, right? So don't do that. 4, some of the examples I'll be sharing are of cryptos that I personally own. Please understand that I'm not attempting to pump my own bags. It is just the case that many of them just meet my criteria, and simply I am familiar with the charts. Not to mention, I'm not a big enough channel in order to pump my own bags. Imagine if Near Protocol, for example, could go to $100 simply by getting the 20 to 40 people who watch my channel to actually purchase it. That'd be incredible, but unfortunately that will not happen. Finally, just because a coin fits my criteria does not mean it'll pump. Just because it doesn't mean it won't. I'm merely trying to increase my odds of taking money from the market, and after you see my presentation, maybe you'll think this criteria helps too, or at least some of it. So without further ado, let's go. So first things first, I like it when a crypto has been around at least 2 years and ideally since 2021. So the reason that I like this is because it gives us a longer price history and it's less likely to be a rug. They say that history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. So when we have a longer history of a coin, we can look at support and resistance levels. We can look at prior fib extensions of where it got to in prior bull markets. We can look at retracements. I always do that. Retracements in prior bear markets. And we can make inferences about the future based on the past. But if we invest in a coin that simply came out, let's say, for example, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, even a year ago, we have a lot less data to go off of. It doesn't mean these investments can't be worthwhile, but the less time they've been around, the more likely they are to pull something off like Ohm, something like Terra Luna Classic. Something like, and this was egregious in late 2024, early 2025, Melania coin. So we want a coin to build up a household name before we invest in it, generally speaking. Yes, there are instances where we get super lucky and we invest in something as it's coming out and it pumps to the moon. And if that has happened to you, by all means, that is fantastic. And I hope that trend continues, right? But generally speaking, we want something with a little bit of a track record before we decide to invest in it. So let's go ahead to criteria number 2. I personally like medium cap altcoins generally speaking. I'm willing to make some exceptions if other criteria are met. I'm willing to jump into something on page 7 of CoinMarketCap if some of these other criteria that I'm talking about are coming to fruition. I'm willing to buy some Ethereum, some XRP, if some of these other criteria that I'm going to mention are in good placement and good holding. But the reason why I like these medium alt cap coins because they provide what I'll call a volatility sweet spot. It provides opportunity for significant gains while there's less likelihood of it dying off completely. All crypto has extreme volatility, but that's kind of what we're here for. So for instance, if Bitcoin goes back to its all-time high from here, it will have done about a 2x, around 62 to 126. If Farcoin goes back to its all-time high from here, it will have done a 17x. Given that these highs haven't been too long ago, and given that these highs took place during a time where altcoins had been consolidating for a long time, and now we're probably witnessing the worst part before a potential pump after a 5 to 6 year consolidation, I would say it's very reasonable for Farcoin to go up to all-time highs and beyond. So for me personally, as someone who does not hold hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, even though it sounds ridiculous, something like Farcoin to me sounds like a more reasonable coin to reasonably dollar cost average into than into Bitcoin. Third criteria, the coin is volatile to both the upside and the downside. It provides excellent buy opportunities and potential take profit areas. These buying opportunities and take profit areas typically correspond to overall altcoin weakness and strength. And this is really good because it provides some reliability according to the market. So let's take a look at two different coins here. So the first one on the left-hand side has been Polygon. So unfortunately, Polygon has been only down and to the right. So it's provided really no great place to accumulate nor to sell, minus perhaps this little area right here. Because like I've said, it's been only down to the right. Is it impossible that Polygon comes back? No. In fact, does it look like it could be flattening out and bottoming here? That's possible as well, right? But we don't have really any evidence of strength. We don't have any evidence that people actually want this coin. It seems that people are only dumping this coin in order to buy something with more strength. Let's take a look at Aerodrome. Aerodrome here looks a little bit better. It has given us some areas to accumulate it at lows and some areas to take profit. So we can see here we have lows, we have lows, we had lows back here, and it appears that we have lows again. If we were to want to take some short-term profits, we could have here. I am personally not selling until we hit a euphoric level, and I feel as if we have not done that yet, particularly in altcoins. But nonetheless, if you were savvy and you were a trader and you wanted to sort of swing trade these positions, this coin gave you an opportunity to do that, whereas Polygon did not. So therefore, in terms of upside and downside volatility, providing opportunities for low cost buying and potential take profit areas, Aerodrome is significantly better than Polygon. Let's go to criteria number 4, and this might be my most important criteria. The coin has been showing recent relative strength versus both itself and the market at large. Not only that, but it's still in the cheap region, and it is an up and to the right chart on log scaling. Special note, for me personally, I use log to determine strength and momentum over time, and I use linear to determine if the coin is in a discount zone. So let's break this down. So I talk about recent relative strength versus itself and the market. So if we look at Dogecoin, on log scaling, it is up and to the right over time. That is strength. That proves to us that despite dips in the market overall, despite dips in Bitcoin, despite dips in altcoins, generally speaking, Dogecoin is up and to the right. We can see that very clearly. However, we can see that on linear scaling, which looks much more volatile, despite its strength, it is still in a cheap region. As investors, we want to spot potential and capture it and buy it before it happens. We don't make money in the past. We don't make money off of this happened and we say, oh, too bad we didn't buy it when Elon Musk was on Saturday Night Live and Dogecoin had just hit 70 cents. We don't make money off that. What we do make money off of, though, is when we see potential down here and we say, you know what? Despite crypto's downward volatility, particularly in altcoins, Dogecoin looks like it has been going up and to the right. And I can see that there has been some relative strength that hasn't set new lows, unlike some other coins have. And this could be a potential buying opportunity for me. That's where money is made. The money is made made in fear and uncertainty, and it's made in identifying both strength that could go up and discount, meaning that I can buy something low and I can sell something high. And we can see strength on the left in the log. We can see discount on the right on the linear. I'm not telling you to buy Dogecoin, but I'm just saying these are the type of things that, at least in my opinion, we should be looking out for. Let's further look at some examples. So on the left-hand side, we see a coin that is very inexpensive, and that is Polkadot. It's very cheap, and it's in linear scaling on the upper left-hand side. We can see it's at an insane discount, less than a cent when its all-time high is at 50 cents. However, if we look down at the logarithmic scaling, we can see that things are a very different story, and that Polkadot has been going straight down and to the right for a significant period of time. It shows us that people are more interested in getting rid of this coin and going to other coins than staying in this coin and riding a potential altcoin run back to maybe half of all-time highs or all-time highs, right? Does it mean that Polkadot can't come back? No. It just means that people aren't interested in it. So just because something is cheap doesn't mean we want to invest in it. We want to invest in it because we want other people to buy it. We want other people to be interested. Let's take a look at a coin that a lot of people are interested in, but is already expensive. So that coin is Hyperliquid. So we can see here on its logarithmic chart right here in the center, it has tremendous strength going up and to the right, despite Bitcoin and most other altcoins in cryptocurrency going down. And it actually even looks stronger on the linear up and to the right with a fairly recent parabolic looking move. My goodness. The problem with Hyperliquid is that it's already expensive. It's already gone from $3.20 to $62 and will probably continue to go up more. Does that necessarily mean Hyperliquid is a bad investment? No, it doesn't. Does it also mean that it's probably not going to get some of the returns that other investments might? Yes, it also does. Its market cap is already around $15 billion. It's already made a 20x run. And things don't go up and to the right forever. They're going to stabilize and they're going to crash. So for short-term gains, Hyperliquid might be a great buy, or it might not be. It might actually crash from here. I don't know for sure, but I would reckon that something in the cheap region, something with strength but that hasn't exploded yet, would be a significantly better deal. So here's Render on the right-hand side. So we can see in its linear chart, it's still cheap, and it's showing strength in a number of different ways. So first of all, even though the dates are blocked here, this is the peak of its 2021 cycle. 2021 was an extremely euphoric altcoin cycle. Here is its 2024 peak, not as euphoric as the 2021 peak. Notice the difference in strength between the 2 years, right? As crypto and altcoins got weaker, render got stronger. Additionally, this dip right here corresponded with Bitcoin's February low. And as Bitcoin made another low around this period right here, so it's February low. Actually, I think the February low is here, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like right here. Yes, February low is here. So as Bitcoin actually dipped below its February low, render continued to go higher. So that is not only strength in its own cycle over the years, it is strength relative to the rest of the market. And we can see here that it's around 85 to 90% down from all-time highs. We have further confluence in the logarithmic chart, which shows render, despite a recent downturn, is up onto the right in this chart. So this says, hey, people are interested. It's showing strength, but it's still cheap. This could be a thing that we buy low and we have enough interest to potentially sell high. So I hope at this point we see the difference between something that has no strength, something that has already ran, and something that is showing strength but hasn't ran yet. And hopefully it'll be the case that render runs. And similar coins that have a similar structure, and there's plenty of them. So number 5, this is one that's often overlooked, but I consider that it is worth talking about. Most of the circulating supply of the coin has been unlocked, and or unlocks are done slowly and sensibly. So I'm not going to do it in today's episode, but if you go to CoinMarketCap and you can look at the circulating supply versus the total supply, if the circulating supply and the total supply are significantly off, so for example, the circulating supply is only 30% of the total supply, you might have a situation where you have so much token inflation that even continued broad-based investment in the asset doesn't outweigh the inflation of the token. A great current example of this is WorldCoin. What's interesting about WorldCoin is that it's actually been pumping pretty hard as of late. But don't be fooled. If we look at WorldCoin's price versus its market cap, we see something stark. Ideally, when we look at an altcoin, the shape of the price and the market cap are relatively similar, if not the same, meaning that the coin hasn't diluted too much. It hasn't undergone that much inflation. But with WorldCoin, we see something extremely troubling. The price of WorldCoin has gone down and to the right as the market cap has been going up and to the right. What this means is that more and more people have been putting more and more investment into WorldCoin, and it's being diluted away at a faster and faster rate. With this market cap of 1.77 billion, this should easily be a coin that is around $6 to $10 at least, right? If we were to look at where it is right here, and these are overlaid, so from anywhere from this period to this period is when WorldCoin hit its all-time high of around $9-ish. Its market cap is larger than when it hits its all-time high. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. Personally, for myself, I would stay away from this coin and many similar coins so that this doesn't happen. And aside from tracking the circulating supply versus the total supply, and in CoinMarketCap, you can actually look at the token unlock schedule as well. If you simply take a look at the price in the market cap, if you click from each to each and they look significantly different, it might not be the best investment. Again, not financial advice, but my opinion. Right? Then finally, 6. I think it is important to try to find trending crypto-specific narratives. So I've gone back and forth with this. I've thought, oh, hey, only chart matters. Oh, hey, fundamentals matter. I know fundamentals don't matter. However, I do think a certain narrative or a collection of type of coins that is gaining traction might play some factor in how high coins can pump overall once an altcoin season takes place. I'm going to provide you some examples from history. So, for example, in 2021, we had dog coins, we had Dogecoin, we had Shiba Inu, we had a bunch of spin-off Inu coins like Akina Inu, a bunch of other ones, right? We also had Moon coins, Safe Moon. I remember one called Rat Moon. I remember one called Safe Mars. It got to a point where even if the word safe was in there, it tended to pump. These were primarily on Binance Smart Chain. I remember these rebase tokens where you'd have to lock and unlock your tokens every 8 hours for extra rewards, quote unquote, when in reality it was just inflating the price of the token. Time Wonderland was a big example of this. I don't know if you remember Time Wonderland, but that was a big coin at the time. These narratives can go up significantly if they catch traction. In 2025, we saw other examples with privacy tokens. So Monero went up quite a bit. Zcash went up quite a bit. And this was in an environment where every coin, in essence, not every coin, but most coins, look to be the inverse of the Zcash chart. Something to consider. Finally, in 2026, what are the narratives going to be? In my opinion, it's going to be AI. It could be a little bit of DePIN, could perhaps be some memes, could be some real world asset stuff. We never know for sure. But right here is a cash network. This is one of my favorites. It goes in line with some of the other rules. We have buyable lows, sellable highs, has been around since 2021. Somewhat predictable price action. We know that the future doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. We have a coin that is nearly as high as it was in 2021 and 2024, circulating supply nearly unlocked, and showing recent strength compared to Bitcoin and other altcoins at the time. A lot of AI projects look like this, given the fact that we want to catch something before it runs up and not after it does. AI projects could be the next thing. Time will tell. We will see. Final thoughts. In summary, so crypto has been around at least for 2 years and ideally since 2021. More price history, less chance of a rug. Medium cap altcoins, generally speaking, higher volatility, less likely of a total rug, even though that chance is always there. We'll make exceptions for things like Ethereum, XRP, or really low market cap coins if they meet some of the other stuff. Volatile to both the down and the upside, providing excellent buy opportunities and potential for take profit areas. I'd like to add to this, if we look at a cash, as an example, it generally holds support well. And hopefully it actually holds a higher support than it did before, meaning that even at its lowest point, there are more people interested than there were last time. So I add that in if I were to change that. Volatile to the upside and downside, excellent buy opportunities, potential for take profit areas, hold support well. The coin has been showing recent relative strength and it's still cheap. But you want to buy something before it explodes. Before it explodes, not after it explodes. But we need performance because otherwise it might not explode. I'm saying explode a lot, but do be like that in crypto sometimes, right? Remember Cum Rocket back in the day? That one exploded, just saying. Most of the circulating supply of the coin has been unlocked and or token unlocks are done slowly and sensibly. We don't want our tokens to just be given away to private investors, to developers. We want the coins that we invest in to work for us. So we want most of those coins to be out in circulation so that our currency doesn't inflate to high heaven. And if we wanted our currency to inflate to high heaven, we could just hold the US dollar, right? And then finally, try to find specific crypto-specific narratives. Maybe it's AI, maybe it's alien coins, maybe it's Iran-based coins, Maybe Trump-based coins come back. Who knows, right? But it's kind of helpful to find some of those. A few more things. So when I say we're looking for altcoins to buy, that doesn't mean we just YOLO a significant amount of money into a coin at a specific point. We want to dollar cost average into low prices and poor sentiment. We want to try to avoid nailing the absolute bottom. There are so many times where I thought that prices can get lower, the sentiment can get worse, and I put too much of my available money that I was willing to put into the coin in at that time, only to find out, oh hey, prices can get worse, sentiment can get worse. So we want to dollar cost average in, and we want to be patient both in our buying and our selling, and I guess a third thing, our everything in between, right? It's a game of patience. We want to slowly dollar cost average in, we want to be patient and stomach the volatility, and then finally dollar cost average out. Use fib levels to determine where higher time frame resistance may be on the way up. I'm going to talk about that in another video, potentially in my next one. Look for clues that indicate euphoria. So if you see headlines that say Bitcoin to $1 million, says Michael Saylor. Ethereum to $100,000, says Tom Lee. Oh, XRP to 6767, says Kathy Wood. If people in your daily life are getting into crypto, if the guy who gives you haircuts, if is talking about it, if your teenage nephew is talking about how much money he's made from Fartcoin, if you start seeing crypto shorts at the gym, if you start seeing people say this time is different, these are times to start scaling out. Finally, buy a variety of cryptocurrencies that fit your criteria, not mine, but yours, and are in different narratives. I would recommend at least 10, possibly even more. Some of the cryptocurrencies that I have bought at this point are showing tremendous strength and are poised to do very well, while others are looking, shall I say, less fantastic. And I could not predict that in the future, right? So I pick a number of different cryptocurrencies that align with different narratives, and I go from there. What I will say, though, is that when I started investing this cycle, I would probably say nearly 2 years ago at this point, I would have been better off if I had taken some of the advice that I had provided in this video, because I had learned these things over time. Finally, it's worth noting that if others does well, most altcoins will do well. And you've probably noticed this. If you look at TradingView and if you look at others, when the aggregate of the total cryptocurrency market cap outside the top 10 is performing very well, you can look on the watch list and your altcoins are probably doing very well. And as we have an explosion of the others, most if not all altcoins will do well. Some people say that there is no broad-based alt season anymore. I think this is absolutely ridiculous, and at some point I'll put a video about this claim as well, because it is objectively false if we look at some math. But despite the fact that many altcoins will go up if others do well, if not all of them, many will experience greater returns than others because they may be influenced by some of the factors discussed in this presentation. So with that being said, before we get out of here, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about my criteria? What do you think about some of the coins that I've mentioned? Do you think that some of my criteria is wrong? Do you think that you would mention some other criteria? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what altcoins you would like me to talk about for my video tomorrow when I analyze my criteria and I see how many of each that various altcoins possess. So with that being said, guys and gals, have an excellent night. Once again, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. That is me, Altcoin Connoisseur. Check me out and check out Action TA as well. Guys and girls, that is it for tonight. My voice is very sore and tired. I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.